I need an opportunity, but I had about a month's work about 3 months ago, and sick. I don't say I was sick maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks out of all of it. Now, I'll tell you, all there for a giver. I said, giver, I'm gonna work, I said. That's what I said to the boys all the time. Look out.
Welcome to Unit Radio.
Chaos. For anybody not familiar, that is quintessential Canadiana hip-hop. Early 2000s. My childhood, maybe your childhood too. And by me, I mean Brad Stevens. And this again is Unit Radio, and you are tuning in here again for another Thursday night edition. Of course, to anybody who is just stumbling into us on your dial, you happen to be driving along, you're clipping up Kenmount Road, and you want to check out and see what's happening outside commercial radio, well, and we got a show for you. So for the next 2 hours here, right up until 10 p.m., I'm going to try to play as much of my favorite local and just Canadian music as possible here. Normally, I don't focus so much on Canadian music, but being as this is a little bit of a special occasion, I didn't bring my streamers, but this, for all intents and purposes, I'm an English major, I was saying intensive purposes for years. For all intents and purposes, this is the 10th episode of Unit Radio. So for anybody who's stuck it out all the way through here, thank you so much. I'd like to say it's 20 hours we're about to complete here, but to be honest, we did do one online episode. For anybody who didn't check it out, that one is on YouTube. And take a look for Unit Radio there for Brad Stevens as well. We got a few hot clips posted up there. I do hope to get an interview up there this evening with a good pal of mine, Josh. And I'm actually hoping to get Josh to drop by this evening a little bit later. That'll be something for us to, that's what they call a little radio tease. That's a little something for us to address later on down the road. And But, of course, I do want to thank him, of course, if he doesn't, in advance for his consideration. So I guess, really, for episode 10, I mean, that puts me at, we are at the 16 hours and 10-minute mark right now of material. Not all of my material, mostly, you know, playing some of my favorite bands. Of course, as anybody who's familiar with the show knows, the last portion I like to dedicate to a little segment I call Local Flavor. And on week 10, even yes, in week 10, faithful listener, constant listener, even now, I don't have a stinger or a hook done or anything cool done for this segment that I've been doing since week 1 on my show. And that's really my fault. That's my problem entirely. I don't know what I'm thinking. But I'm hoping maybe to get it together for you next week. As I say every week. You know what? I'm telling you now. I'm going to write it down. Let's bring the mic on over. Okay. Did you like that? That was mime writing. I don't have a pen in my hand either. I should get one. Fake it till you make it, baby. All right, let's try this out. Let's see. To do. Stinger for local flavor. And for those of you who don't know what a stinger is, I don't know what a stinger is really. It's something that I heard somebody say once, and I've inferred it into my own definition of the word, what I hope that it means. But a stinger in radio, if I'm not mistaken, would be, I'm going to take a look and just spoil it for myself here. A short sound clip used to divide sections of the radio program or podcast known as a sounder. Sounder doesn't have the same hook to it. Film industry slang for a post-credits scene. Well, that makes sense, I guess. Film production slang for an extension cord. Well, all right then. If that's the case, then I've also heard the word bumper for radio. So what's a bumper? A term used in the radio broadcasting industry to refer to clips of signature or theme music. Okay, so anyway, yeah. So basically all the things that I probably should have looked up before I started doing the show and not in the first 15 minutes of the 10th episode. But I'm going to have a stinger done for you, and let me tell you, it is going to be worth the wait. Oh boy. What's new for me this week? I did say I was going to make myself a little accountable here on the radio show. Was going to try to at least be real about whether or not I had actually been doing this working out, quote, / looking after myself thing that I've been saying I'm going to do. And I got to say it's going okay. So let's start off, I'd say, so for working out and just in general, just physical activity, exercise, not so much. It's going okay. It's not bad. I mean, I've got video rolling here, which I'm going to post later on YouTube. So what do you guys think? I'm doing a push-up challenge. I had a coworker earlier tell me I looked about 120 pounds soaking wet. He's not wrong. He told me actually, I challenged him to a boxing match or some sort of, I don't know, some sort of fight. Not flagpole style or anything, just like a playful, friend, pal fight. I don't know if any of you have friend pals out there that you like to fight with or like to just beat up on. But this is my friend pal that, we like to intimidate each other. I like to think it's because he's maybe secretly really intimidated by me. And maybe I'm right. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. And I have no idea. You know what's the real funny thing? I actually just flexed at a camera that isn't on. So I've been sitting here looking at a camera that's pointing from my laptop. It's pointing at me, and it's not recording. It's recording now, but it wasn't recording. It wasn't recording when I needed it to record. I'm good. I'm pretty good with technology.
What's that there?
That there is a computer, and evidently I have no idea what I'm doing or how to use it, or having no idea what I'm doing. To be completely honest with you, if I got to go in defense of myself here, this is. That's kind of been the motif of the show since day one, is I have no idea what I'm doing. I just happen to be a guy who's a huge fan of talk radio. And I've sort of just been faking it for the last few weeks and just trying to come in and literally just playing it by ear. I come in with this. I've got, this is the show tonight. You see that right there? For anybody who's watching. 5 lines. 5 lines written down on a piece of paper. That's tonight's show. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing all night. So stick around all night, 10 o'clock, And of course, hopefully we're going to have a few visitors a little bit later too, which will be fun. And of course, there's nothing better to me than having some pals come in and share the space with you. It's always a good time. And what can I say? I don't have as many guests as I guess I'd like. I did have, I've had a couple of people pop in. We did have, of course, Kyle King, who I'd love to have back. Unfortunately, Kyle works away. I'll just say out of the city and keep it vague for his sake. And he works away and he's doing his thing. And I feel like the second he's back, we got to have him in. But I do have a few more people in mind. I've got a surprise guest that I'm going to have coming up in a few weeks, and I don't want to ruin it yet. But I will eventually. I'll come out and spoil it, I think, eventually. Or maybe I'll just wait until that night. It'll just be a surprise guest, and we'll do the real radio tease. Maybe we'll turn it into a contest. People have got to guess and figure out who is Brad Stevens going to have in studio, Who's the apple of his eye? And I don't know the answer to that question. Musically, the apple of my eye? Geez, if I could have anybody in here, my goodness. I'd probably love to have the Strokes in here. And that sounds like that's an odd choice, I guess. I feel like their lead singer, I think it's Julian Casablancas. I feel like he would be like above and beyond the worst guest to have on a radio show. It's not anything that I want to have any part of. But maybe I'll try to get him in. It doesn't seem like a terrible idea. I mean, what could go wrong? He's just a guy. He's just a guy like me or you. He just happens to be the lead singer of, one of the biggest garage rock bands of the early 2000s. Not to mention, has the reputation of just being the worst in general. He does kind of seem like the worst. I mean, watching him at concerts and stuff, he's arrogant, he's ignorant, he's insulting people, and it's kind of part of his charm and allure. And he writes a lot of the songs too. Ooh. Oh boy. So if I could have Julian Casablancas in here. And of course the rest of the Strokes, what is it, Albert Hammond Jr., Fabrizio. I think he may have dated Drew Barrymore back in the day. Why do I know so much celebrity gossip about the Strokes? What am I doing? Okay. And it's embarrassing enough because I'm actually filming this. There's no reason that I should have any of this on film. Okay. Yeah. Okay. For anybody who's willing to help me forget about that, I would genuinely, I would really appreciate that. I mean, what? Like, obviously I don't follow celebrity gossip. So one of the things I do want to do tonight, where I am, I have a friend who writes for a celebrity blog. I'll go ahead and give her a little plug on the radio here. We have Krista. Krista writes for hecklerspray.com, which is a celebrity gossip site, and definitely check out some of her horribly offensive. I will warn, it is an 18-plus language website for sure. So definitely keep that in mind for any of our younger and more impressionable listeners out there. And of course, I guess this is about time. I'm looking at the clock tick by, and I do have PSAs, public service announcements, and promotional material to air. So before I do, I will take you into a break there with one of my favorite tunes from a few weeks ago. This is Chuck Berry with Memphis, Tennessee.
Unit Radio is back.
And that is Sam Roberts off one of his earlier releases. That is We Were Born in a Flame. And the song's title, oh God, I'm so forgetful. This is Unit Radio. I am your unit, Brad Stevens. That was Every Part of Me from Canada's wonderkind, Sam Roberts. I actually love that tune. And to be honest with you, I love that whole album. I remember Brother Down coming out when I was probably at just about the age where I was, like exactly old enough to appreciate it. So I had just probably started playing guitar at that time. I'd probably just started getting into music. And, I wasn't at the point yet. I lived in a small town, so we didn't have a bustling music scene or a big bustling local scene. So, we wrote a lot of songs, with bands that I played with, and friends of mine were in bands, and we played at Lions clubs and stuff, but I don't know, there was stuff like that, stuff like Sam Roberts, and I know I've done quite a few songs off that record. In weeks previous, you've heard Taj Mahal, you've heard This Wreck of a Life, which, for as far as album closers go, is kind of a heartbreaker. I mean, it's not an intense, heavy song. It kind of sounds a little like 70s era Neil Young, but I don't know, it's beautiful. Incredible tune, amazing, and more than anything, what's truly amazing is if you are listening to this right now, you stuck around and you're still here for at least the last 3/4, I hope, of Unit Radio. And if that's the case, you're the real unit here. So, I mean, I'm just here delivering it. I do this every week. I kind of agreed to, in a way. So, yeah.
Slow down, orangutan!
Yeah. So, basically, really, I was just touching a little bit on, trying to look after myself a little tiny bit. I've been doing a little bit of working out. I've been doing absolutely no real physical activity. I've been doing these push-up and sit-up programs. They're basically apps for my phone that tell me how many push-ups I should do and then how long of a break to take until I do more push-ups. And I don't know how accurate that is. That could be, I can stand over you and pretend to be a personal trainer and tell you that I know what I'm talking about and tell you that I know exactly, how much of a break you've got to take. Like, I know there's definitely got to be some correlation with the fact that I use this program, and sometimes I'll do 5 push-ups. 15 push-ups, and, I'm real strong. And then it tells me to take a 30-second break, and then I do another 8, and then it tells me to take a 45-second break. And there's got to be some sort of science. Like, this can't just be a random app just kind of telling me, right? Like, there has to be a rhyme or a reason to it, I hope. I don't know, I feel like I'm just going in blind and just feeling my way through, just trying to do my best. And unfortunately, my best is going to have to be good enough because I have no idea what I'm doing, and I'm kind of too ashamed to go to a gym and ask for help. But I hear that's what all the kids are doing. Maybe when I'm a little older. And then, the other thing that I tried doing a little bit more of was I tried doing some yoga as well. So that's been actually fun. For the last few months, I've been doing yoga. I have been really actually enjoying it. I'm not going to lie. It's been great. It's really different. I don't know. It's not really like working out as much as it is like a really good stretch. Like, if you wanted to discover that there are shapes and contortions to your body that you didn't know you had, you should do some yoga, because you'd be really, really surprised. You blow yourself away, to be honest. I had no idea that there was any sort of semblance of, like, I could do what I consider to be the splits and completely bend myself in two on the bottom portion, like say from my torso down, and I'm just completely contorting my legs, and then I am just turning my body back and forth like a rag doll. I'm holding my arms out and doing these crazy reaches, and I'm doing leans. All of a sudden I have to lean all the way down. There's times when I'm doing yoga that I feel like I'm just gonna pull myself apart like a Mr. Potato Head kind of. You know, like I'm going to turn a little too far the wrong way and it's going to like one of my kidneys out and there goes something else. There's another, maybe my arm just flies off. And I don't know, it's been a fun sensation. It's been a cool sensation. It's been a learning experience. I feel like I'm learning something about myself. Now I know, now I know that if I wanted to, I can, stretch my arm weirdly far. I don't know why I would ever need to know that, but I do. And that's good. That's got to be positive in a sense. It's definitely got to be some good takeaway from it, right? So, I've been trying. So, moral of the story is push-ups I suck at. Because, upper body strength is not really my thing. Yoga, I don't suck at. Yoga, I feel really confident at. I think yoga is one of those things that it's meant to make you feel confident. The hardest part that I'm buying into, I should say the hardest part that I'm having, I'm having a really tricky time kind of buying the spiritual kind of aspect of yoga. So I don't really get as into the whole getting in touch with putting your hands to the ground and connecting with the ground. So, for those of you who've probably started out maybe in this day and age, 21st century style, New Year's hits and you want to try something new, so you get into yoga and you think, I'm going to do a yoga program. And where do you start when you want to learn something new in 2017? You go to YouTube. So what I did was I went to YouTube like everybody told me, and I found a lovely, lovely woman by the name of Adrian. And Adrian does yoga videos. And so I've been doing her 31-day program, and it's really cool. It's interesting, and I'm almost finished. It's tough. What's kind of funny is sometimes she'll show the most intense position that they do in the video in a little snippet or a little photo or screenshot on the video itself. So you always kind of end up looking at that one and thinking, okay, that's the move I'm going to end up falling over it. So I remember looking at one video and it was called Practice Ease. And I'm thinking, okay, Practice Ease sounds cool. And the picture, she's in sort of like a crouched position, except her legs and feet are off the ground and she's got her hands underneath her supporting the entirety of her weight. Now, as I said earlier, I am 120 pounds soaking wet in every bit of it. I'm a tiny, tall, lanky guy, but I definitely can't lift 120 pounds on my two arms, which says really more about me than anything. I know there's someone out there is laughing. I'm tiny. I'm frail. I'm falling apart here, but I'm trying, and I don't want to be like this. I would like to be more strong. I'd like to have more, I'd like to have more upper body strength. So if anybody out there has got any suggestions, and I know you do, I know I'm asking the right people out there in radio land, people who know all about how to get yourself in shape and make yourself feel a little bit better, please just reach out and let me know. There's got to be a trick. I'm trying to eat a little better. I don't know. Do I gotta introduce creatine to my diet? I started adding a little whey to some smoothies and stuff that I've been making. I don't know if that's going to help. Someone's going to call in and tell me that that's like the worst thing I could be doing, I'm sure. And of course, actually, if you want to reach out to me, the best way to get at me usually would be on Instagram. And we'll go with @UNITRADIO. So just check that out. That's all one word, @UNITRADIO. Or if you don't go with the Instagrams and you're just an OG and you like to send emails to people, and I love emails, just make sure you fire off an email to me there at unitradio@gmail.com. And once again, that's unitradio@gmail.com or @unitradio on Instagram. And I'm available all the way there. That's going to come right through to the phone in my pocket. And I'd be happy to talk with you. If you got any complaints about the show, if you hate it, heck, if you want to make a stinger for me, for the local flavor segment, I'd be happy to introduce it to the show and throw that right on the soundboard up there. think the soundboard actually up here that I have is like the most underutilized thing that I've got. I don't know why I even made it. Like at this point, like I'm hardly even using it. But I guess it's a good thing to have, just in case I ever do need it. So if I've got someone in and I happen to want to use, this.
I don't care who you are, right? You can't go burying dolphins on public beaches.
I mean, then I have it there, so that's great. I mean, I still never figured out if she was serious or not. She doesn't care who you are. You can't go burying dolphins on public beaches. She's not wrong. She's definitely not wrong. I guess the only other thing that's new really this week for me is I got a pair of glasses, and I feel like a real silly willy. If you want, again, take a look at them, cheap plug, check out the Instagram. But I feel like a space alien. I put them on, and I started walking around, and I left the store, and I had them on, and I almost was like I was walking like I was drunk, and I'm just kind of catching my feet in front of me. Like, I mean, when you really think about it, walking at its purest description is just consistently falling forward, but consistently catching yourself as you fall forward. And, that's awesome. I'm not particularly great at it, but, I do my best. But this really was, with a new pair of glasses, that first 30 minutes was honestly like I was legitimately just tumbling forwards, and at the last second putting my foot out, thinking that there was some sort of clearance that almost thinking there was either something there that I needed to step over, or that my foot wasn't quite at the ground. It was just like a total misjudgment, and my brain kind of got tricked for a little bit. It's the weirdest sensation to have a new set of glasses, and it's been 10 years for me, so this is like a huge change. I feel like a brand new person. I feel like I look like a space alien. And I probably do. My girlfriend said I looked handsome. She's a good liar. I like her. So speaking of space aliens, these guys can only be from outer space. I hear they're from Philly, but I don't buy it. This is a favorite band of mine. They're called Dr. Dog, and off their first release, Easy Beat, this is Say Something. And you're listening to Unit Radio with Brad Stevens. And we'll be right back after this and a few messages.
Unit Radio is back.
There would be no tomorrow. There's always going to be a tomorrow. Here's hoping. But as for today, you're listening to Unit Radio. And again, my name is Brad Stevens. Thanks again, of course, to anybody who is sticking around here, anybody who may just be stumbling across us here on your Thursday night dial. Stick around, we got plenty more music to come. You're only at the halfway point of the show here, folks. And, of course, before the break there, again, we did have Dr. Dog with Say Something off 2000, and I believe 3 or 4's Easy Beat. One of my favorites for sure. And I do love the Bare Naked Ladies as well. Admittedly, I've seen a lot of great local artists, and I've seen a lot of great, I'd say, international artists as well. But I have to be completely honest, they were one of the best. They were absolutely, I had to switch up mics there. They're absolutely one of the best artists I've ever seen live. They just put off an incredible live show. So, of course, we're going to round off the hour here. I do like to play, something a little bit different. I try to do as much rock as I can, try to keep it real, as it were. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play a little bit of jazz for you. So this one off of, I believe, as it's 1959. Wow. Off of 1959's Kind of Blue. This is Miles Davis with just some of the greatest musicians to ever live, really. With their opening track off that record, for anyone who's familiar, this will need no introduction. If you haven't heard it, go listen to that record. I've done Freddie Freeloader already, but this is So What. All right. That was for anybody who stuck through that 9 minute and 38 second, well, we're at about 20 seconds, wonderful masterpiece. Masterful wonderpiece? That's not a wonderpiece, is not a word, is it? I was going for Freebird, actually. I did think about doing Freebird. I think
that would be better than Freebird.
Freebird actually might be a song I can't play, unfortunately.
Brass. Give me brass. Anything brass.
I can't think of any brass maybe off the top of my head, like some sort of Brian Setzer orchestra maybe or something.
We had some brass. We just had 9 minutes of it. It was fantastic.
There feels like there's a lot of reed in there. I mean, we do have, there's some trumpet in there. But, what's the full lineup here? I know there's definitely like a what do you call it on the phone?
I have no idea anything about any of those instruments. I just know that they're shiny and they're gold colored.
They are
I
very
assume
shiny.
They were all made of brass, so I'm tearing them all with the one. brush.
That's fair. That's what I would do too.
Right.
And I mean, if you like shiny, bright things, then you're here for the shiniest, brightest hour of all. We've got about an hour left here of Unit Radio. Again, I'm Brad Stevens. Joining us in the studio here, if we got to have a radio name, I guess we decided we were going to call you Josh.
I'm fine with Josh.
That's
Yeah,
okay. Did
that's
we
good.
settle on Bob for you?
Bob's Satisfactory.
Bob is satisfactory. Welcome, Josh and Bob, to the 10th anniversary, 10th episode of Unit Radio.
It's been so long.
I know, it's been like, what, 2 weeks for you? Although I got you in the live studio now.
Yeah.
We had you a few weeks ago
There's
in here.
much more pressure.
When you're live on the air, it's not so bad. What happens though sometimes is you start mispronouncing your words, or you start making up words. I just started to go with it.
Yeah, I'm not concerned.
Now you got to. I think you just kind of own it.
It's trendy to make your own words nowadays.
Isn't it though? That's kind of what I thought too. I felt like it was just, I'm a trailblazer, trendsetter.
It's hip.
Just a cool
Hip
guy.
With the kids. Hip with the kids.
Let's
A
not
real
stretch it.
cool guy.
Cool guy might really be going too far. I don't know.
He does have
That's-
new glasses, people
Oh,
of Radio
Bradley,
Land.
I don't know if anybody told you, but you look a bit like a space alien.
I've gotten that actually.
Yeah?
Before
Is
the
that
glasses
something
too,
you've
though.
heard,
But
or-
yeah, no,
Yeah.
absolutely. I do have that. It's my head actually, and I haven't decided if it's too small or too big for my body, but it's one of the two for sure. So I'll take space alien though.
Space alien.
I'm sure you mean it in the nicest of
In an
context,
endearing
right?
way, like you'd want him to wrestle.
I think space aliens could be endearing. Maybe I have no experience with a space alien. I myself have not been to the moon.
I cannot confirm nor deny any
Oh.
experience with space alien.
Okay, so there's no. All right, we're not going to get like an abduction. That means I got to have you back, right? This means I've kind of got to like bring you in
What
here.
they
This is
said.
going to be like
That's what they said.
we're going to need multiple sessions just get you back. Maybe.
Mothership.
Yeah, you run that mothership.
Well,
Well, I'm glad somebody was on the mothership because I've only seen the mothership really. They tell me it was, they just tell me it was a frisbee, but I think it was a mothership. I was lying on the grass. I'm in the park. All of a sudden, just overhead, I see it go. I know.
told you were going to have a good year.
I think it was the Balians. I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100% sure, but I do think the Balians flew overhead.
I could see how aliens would have influenced Bay culture for sure.
Oh, definitely.
There could be intergalactic Honda Big Reds.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, the Big Red itself could have been, really made of alien technology. I mean, look at the 454 itself.
Oof.
What a specimen of modern technology. It was like the wheel, fire,
And 454.
and 454.
Four barrel.
4-barrel for sure. So, thank you guys for joining me. We just stepped away there. I had to go let these guys into the studio, I guess.
Glad to be here, Mr. Stevens. I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad to.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, the pleasure's all mine.
Big day.
Yeah, this is, like I said, day 10. This is sort of fake week 10 for the show. So I came in and did like a fake episode, and I had to put together, I did kind of I don't know. I sort of
Fake
went,
news? Would you call it fake news?
no, I'd say I went half measure is the way I described it. Like I came in and I did say like a half hour here, and I just sat in front of the mic, and I played a song from my own band, which feels really cheap because I didn't actually play any real music. And then I just talked by myself, looking into my laptop camera for a half an hour.
You gotta look somewhere.
I had to. I felt like at first it was gonna look at me, so it was kind of like a profile view where it's viewing me from the side, and I was gonna look straight forward and just watch the bars go across the screen. I thought that would be more sensible.
You don't have any tape on you. It is looking at you.
I guess so, yeah. And this is it. So in essence, then I ended up just sitting this way, and I was leaning, looking at the camera, and I started pretending like I was Carson or O'Brien or something. Like I'm just sort of leaned back. I got way too comfortable.
It does look comfortable for people that can't see it.
It is
Radio
pretty. It's
land.
really comfortable here in the studio.
It's very festive as well.
Yeah, for anybody who hasn't been to the CHMR studios, make sure you drop on by. Not only for that cheap candy out front, but they do have some pretty sweet Christmas decorations, albeit I think it's a little early. Do you guys got a tree up yet?
No, but the time is coming.
The comment. Are you?
We began Christmas
Okay.
yesterday with our tradition of looking through the 1975 Sears Wishbook.
Sears
Yes.
Wishbook.
From 1975.
All the appliances are mustard.
Oh my God. Okay, so why
There's
specifically?
bongs in there.
Wow. Okay. Why specifically? I did see actually this. I believe I commented on the smoking lamp, as it were.
Yes,
Yeah.
It was a tobacco pipe.
Yeah.
For the
Water
tobacco lover.
Ugh. And for anybody
Unquote.
everybody, if you didn't hear their fingers move, that was air quotations. So, what's your favorite item? What was the thing on your wish list from the
Oh, my
1975?
favorite item of the 1975 Sears Wishbook
It's gonna be
is
mine.
in the G.I. Joe section because you have there's an action figure and his name is Big Jim.
Okay.
And Big Jim has a bunch of different play sets and a bunch of different suits and a bunch of different stuff you can get. But on the bottom of the page, there's also a action figure you can get.
Okay.
And in the quotations, it says, Big Jack, just like Big Jim, only black.
Okay. That's the toy? That's
That's the toy.
entire
It's
description
like
of
a
the toy,
black
yeah.
1975 G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe. It's a... Oh my
and
God.
his name is Big Jack.
Oh my God, because obviously they would have had to have done. I mean, I don't know if you're familiar, but I've seen in other cultures there's different ethnicities of Santa Claus. If you happen to come from a different background and happen to celebrate Christmas.
Well, yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
Of course. There should be all the shades of Santa you could
Of
want.
course, typical white man to make a white Santa.
Oh, exactly. And I mean, we grew up. That's kind of the way. We grew up in a very white province. I grew up in a white community. I didn't grow up with a lot of diversity around the bay. I'm sure you guys could say the same. We're all from differing bays, and yet our bays are not so different. At heart, and it's interesting because I feel like as I've gotten older, I've started to realize, even I grew up, going to church, and I used to see pictures of Jesus, and Jesus has been portrayed a certain way to me. I'm certain Jesus is portrayed different ways to different faiths.
An 8-pound baby.
Absolutely.
That's what this season is allegedly all about.
That's what this season is, I guess, all about. I guess
For a lot of folks, and that's cool.
Do you go on the? I mean, I don't. This is obviously we're definitely delving into heavy territory here. But do you keep the? Do you the Xmas or do you keep the Christ in Christmas?
Oh well, you call it Christmas.
It is Christmas.
But like
Even
we
the
like,
commercialization of Christmas. We are
yeah.
big on the commercialization
Oh,
of
absolutely.
holidays.
I like me kitschy Christmas.
Yeah.
Kitschy Christmas is
And
fun.
it doesn't need to look too serious. I don't think you should take itself too seriously.
Should be about.
But I like my decorations to look like they're from the mid to late 80s. And tinsel.
Lots of
It's
it.
hard to pick up, but it's good.
Can you still find? I had a hard time finding tinsel in
It
recent
kills
years.
whales.
Is that why you can't get tinsel
It
anymore?
kills whales.
Okay. All right. So this is
Officially anti-tinsel.
Are you officially?
Wow.
Anti-
Have you ever seen tinsel in our house?
No, I know.
that's kind of fair. I mean, anything really like that. I mean, it's kind of like. Actually, it's kind of amazing that tinsel was around as long as it was. Did they only just recently find it that it kills
It
whales?
doesn't kill whales.
Oh
No, man.
no. Ah,
I'm sorry.
you had me there.
Fake news.
Fake news.
You need to be careful.
I do. Well, this is the
Check
problem.
sources,
Don't just
people.
believe me.
I was
because
about to
I say
Google it. I was sure I would have found a source.
You know what? I'm sure it probably does.
I would've-
in one way or another. kill
somewhere,
something.
yeah, on some website somewhere, there's an article that would tell me that I can't because the sea turtles eat it and it gets in the eggs or something.
Yeah.
That's the problem with nowadays. I have to be careful what I read. And I mean, speaking of fake news, of course, I'm sure maybe you guys had heard. I didn't know where to fall on it, but of course the Yobov Orlova that happened to apparently have washed up on the coast of California. This would be the ghost/cannibal rat-infested ship that was let loose from St. John's Harbor.
Has it really gone all the way to California?
Allegedly, a boat
No.
was found. I'll bring it up right here, man. Allegedly, a boat was found, and apparently it's... they think that's what it is. It's still the cannibal rat ship.
All right, I'm going to ask you a very important question. Do you remember a movie from the mid-90s called The Virus? Where a bunch of aliens beamed a computer virus aboard
I do.
a boat, and was it Sigourney Weaver?
It had somebody with sunglasses on the cover.
Yeah, anyway.
When
it was-
Tommy
it
Lee
was horrible.
Jones-
I'm sure that's what's on the go on that boat.
You think that's it?
Definitely.
I thought it was like that. But that was like Ghost Ship.
How are the rats keeping that mother afloat?
That's a good question. Well, I mean, they're allegedly the idea is that they're cannibal rats on like a ship that is actually like when I looked into the Yobov let's see if we can get this right. We get rid of the L. Yubov Orlova. Do you know she's a Russian actress? Yubov Orlova.
You above.
Yubov. I don't think it's Liu. Is it Liu?
You above.
Yubov. Yubov Orlova.
Russians are cool.
Russians cool. Russians are really
cool.
cool. Okay, so yeah, this is the one right here. We had Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh, okay, that's who it is.
That's who it
Sorry.
was right there.
Sorry
No.
about
How could you-
that, Miss Weaver.
Yeah, that's okay.
If you're listening.
And she was with William Baldwin, and of course Canada's own Donald Sutherland.
William Baldwin?
Yeah, that was it.
I
Apparently,
didn't realize the budget was so bad. They couldn't spring for the better.
it actually had a huge budget. It came in at $75 million in total, but actually only
gosh.
grossed 30 in theaters.
Oh, God.
It's kind of a bomb.
Disappointment.
And actually, there is a line of action figures that's out there for the film Virus, though.
Is it really?
Yeah, apparently it was supposed to be like there was a video game for it. There was action figures, and allegedly it was just
Didn't pan out.
Yeah, but I guess, you know, I mean, there were a lot of movies that came out around that time, say like 99, 2000. Think about, I don't know if you guys are familiar, but Starship Troopers.
Who could forget?
Amazing, right?
Gem.
Yeah, such, and it's
But that's had
aged so
some
well.
success since. Many sequels.
Certainly. But at the
animated
time,
series.
I mean, at the time, it was just
Was it
very
not
unappreciated.
a financial success?
As far as I know, maybe not. It could have been a financial success. I just think it was
And
really
yes, Neil
poorly
Patrick Harris.
received.
That's very important. He was in that.
Oh
movie.
yeah, he was.
He was. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
How old was he?
Post Doogie, pre How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah, okay. So if you take a look here, I mean, it just went
Pretty good
past its budget there. You know, it had grossed 54 million in the U.S. with 121 worldwide, but the budget was 105. But at the time, apparently, it was completely negative
Quite
reviews.
a commentary on fascism.
Well, that's what I think. And I mean, I think maybe it was a movie that kind of came out like a little too early. And watching it in later years, you know, in the last, say, 2 years,
It's a bit silly. I like it.
it's definitely a lot silly. But it's good.
You know what? They made a lot of props for that movie, and those props kept showing up in sci-fi shows and stuff that I would watch.
Why is that one?
And
in
I don't know
particular?
why. Like, maybe I'm a little silly, but I'd be like, I recognize this helmet that this space monster on this one-off episode of Star Trek is wearing from previous helmets that some other guy wore. So you know
Yeah,
they're
but-
going to the same closet.
That's because your and my memory work the same way. Like, you have this innate ability to forget what you just did or where you laid anything.
Yeah.
But you can tell me about the helmet that guy from Star Trek was wearing.
Yeah.
And then, oh yeah, that's the one. Right, that's the one from. I think I saw that on a sci-fi film.
But I
That
can't
could be
figure
from
out
the-
how to make money like that.
There's gotta.
that.
I don't know. There's got to be a way though. I mean, we can.
It's
figure it out.
concerning for my mother. She doesn't understand how.
Oh, she definitely accused you of being autistic the last time we were there.
Really?
She did.
Yeah.
She did. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, your mom?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Thanks, mom. I guess. I
Well-
mean, is she wrong?
Who knows? Who's to say?
Undiagnosed.
I don't know.
Yeah, but we
We all remember the psychs from like 4th grade that come into your bay school and trying to figure out if you're nuts, and
I do not remember that.
you
at
don't
all.
remember that.
Was
Yeah,
that
but
ever-
you spent the vast majority of your childhood wondering if you were.
I did
mentally
have that problem. I spent
delayed.
Didn't we all?
years of my life very concerned that I was actually in a special class and it was kind of a conspiracy. I wouldn't know. I was special, right? So
That was-
years of my life just completely stressed out about
horrifying
that.
to
What was I
contend
do
with.
with my life? I wasn't going to be able to work.
No, of course not. Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah,
but-
really
but
concerned
you could
about
no,
that.
but you could have found a well-adjusted place, I guess, in society, maybe. But I mean,
I don't know. How did I know what society was?
Did you-
I was young and thought I was special.
what about you? I mean, did you ever have other than your
we,
mom?
we were so deep into bay, all of our classes were so small. We weren't, you know.
Well, this is it. I mean, I look at a lot of, like, right now, I don't know if it worked the same way when we were kids, but right now it's when you get past kindergarten, you start getting into the numbered grades. That's when you start getting assessed, say, by your teachers or your evaluators or principals or whatever. That's the point when they have to start. Like, I think the process is they have to recommend you to differing levels. I think it's like a pathway, it's called. So you might be on a different pathway, more adjusted for your level of education. And I can't imagine being in the situation where you have to be the person actually putting someone into that pathway.
I think it's very dangerous to let a person put another person into that.
Well,
pathway.
I mean, this is it. And this is why it becomes, it's not being put, it becomes like, I think you actually have to, it has to go to the parents, I think, or whoever the guardian is, and they actually have to approve it. So, I mean, a parent or a guardian could actually, for all intents and purposes, intensive purposes.
You got word today, toilet paper man?
Yeah, man. I should. I really should, honestly.
You should.
Where do you pick up word
learn,
of the day toilet paper?
I think it's a
would
custom
like
order.
some.
Learn
To
a
be
new
honest
word
with you,
every day.
the same way you get, I think it's like days of the week underpants is kind of, it's like sort of the same location, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm probably mistaken, let's get real.
That is a new way to control your life.
Yeah, and you're not wrong in saying that, but I would probably buy days of the week underpants. I couldn't see myself getting custom toilet paper. It feels wasteful. Unless
Well,
you're,
I mean, yeah, you're flushing one of those things down the toilet.
it is
You're-
literally waste.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's too bad. Wow, we got from current events to waste pretty fast there. We really did.
You're welcome.
It's a slippery slope.
Well, that's what you guys are here for. Josh put in a request here this evening before we do go to one of our public service announcements. Don't worry, this is not one I have to read and you have to listen to me stumble over the words. Did you guys catch that on the way in? Me stumbling over the words to a PSA?
We caught
No, I
most
thought you
of
did
the-
a fine job. The public was serviced.
I think he's lying. I don't think he's telling the truth. But I appreciate it.
Salesmen don't lie.
I don't know if you'll be back when we come back from the break, but thanks for the suggestion, Josh. And this is Brad Stevens here for Unit Radio. Stick around. We've got plenty more to come.
Is back.
Oh, and I just went into radio voice. Is that that's the cue, I think. That's got to be the cue. I suppose that I'm live. Yeah, I went back to live, and I switched it on over, and that is Dr. Dog off their first records, first-ish studio record.
They wasted a lot of time on med school, man. I would have listened to a Mr. Dog.
I know, right? That's too bad. And this is Josh. We're joined here with Bob as well in studio. And again, this is Unit Radio. I'm Brad Stevens. If you're just sticking around or just joining in or whatever, I appreciate any of your consideration and all of your time. Before the break, of course, we had Josh's suggestion there, which was the Pre-Raphaelites. With Embassy, I guess that was a good song.
It was a great song. It brings me back to when
2011.
Yeah. First, when you discovered that there was local music.
I know.
Did not feature an accordion.
And honestly, it was like a 7-piece too. So the fact that nobody played an accordion in that band
was a bunch of skilled folks in that band.
There really were. I think it was a lot of music
one
students.
Of the first times I went to any of the bars in Holdsworth Court.
To be honest, actually, that's what actually got me to a lot of bars. Like I went to the Ship, I think, for the first time to see the Pre-Raphaelites.
Yeah. I went to the Ship for the first time to see Dog Meat Barbecue.
Dog Meat Barbecue.
Yeah.
You know Wallace from Dog Meat Barbecue? He actually used to be a studio
I don't know
station
him,
manager.
But I do know the infamous Mike O'Brien.
Who doesn't? Of course, he's a Memorial University
he's fantastic.
Fellow.
Fantastic.
He's a familiar face.
Yeah.
They're a really good band, too. Yeah. When did I go see them? I think I may have seen them, actually, at the Levy or Distortion with you. Was it?
Definitely.
Maybe a CBTG show?
Probably. I don't know.
That would have been forever ago, too. Whoa. Really bringing me back here.
We're old.
We are old.
That's okay.
That's okay. That's why I play. A lot of times when I get into my local flavor segment, which we'll have coming up in a little bit, I do end up playing a lot of old music. I don't know why either. There's some weird thing where I don't go through the most recently released albums on Bandcamp and take a look at what's new from St. John's. I always take a look at what I like from St. John's.
Nostalgia.
Absolutely, yeah. So I have friends of mine I grew up with, Steve Power, Adam Power, Corey Thompson, and Jay Wells. They did a great band called Obsession. Oops, I don't want to get this wrong. Obsessive Compulsion. Sorry, Steve. I know you're gonna punch me in the face out there.
Punch on the radio.
Yeah, my bad. It's too bad.
I just find so many of our bands that we listened to that were local growing up, like they come up and go down so fast. By the time you really want another album, they're gone.
Well, that was it. There was a lot of acts, like you said, that were short-lived, but it was a lot of interchangeable members. So it was almost like when I saw bands that I liked break up, I'd see most of them split up, but maybe 2 or 3 of them would stay together, and they'd end up going out and touring or doing a completely different act, and they'd be in. Suddenly, it's a different group. Like I did that. I was playing with certain people, and then I played years ago with Evan and Tristan, and then we didn't take any of the music we wrote, but we ended up getting together with 2 more guys, and we became a completely different band. So that's something that happens. I saw Alex Bridger has been in a ton of bands. I used to say at one point, I'm pretty sure that Chris Donnelly probably played drums for 70% of the bands in St. John's, and all the other ones were Steve Doyle. It's kind of odd. It's a really small music scene, but in that way, for some reason, there's such a weird diversity of music. Like there's a lot of different local music I've seen around here.
There's a lot of different sound and stuff.
Definitely. Think of stuff like Ouroboros. Have you guys ever seen?
Yeah.
Almost klezmer, but not klezmer, if you know what I mean. I don't know how I describe them. They have they just almost have they sort of adapt a lot of world music. Obviously, again, you've got a bunch of people that are very classically trained, people who probably did music programs. I know for sure Andrew McCarthy definitely did a percussion program at Memorial University School of Music. And that was most of the Pre-Raphaelites as well. You look at it, seven people, and I think almost everybody did some level of music training.
That probably speaks to the short life of those bands. Like there are a lot of them are university bands. People come and go.
You're definitely right.
Right. Finish programs and leave, move away.
Well, that's one of those things. Where I don't know. I guess you kind of have to go away to do another program. Isn't it kind of encouraged, I guess, when you do post-secondary? Maybe it was just arts and sciences, but I think the idea, is you do a first degree, you would do something at MUN, and you almost have to go away.
I think that's for just about every
Yeah,
profession.
I would assume music would be no different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're supposed to get experience from anywhere you can get experience.
Well,
if you move away, obviously, it's going to be a bigger pool of different types of things to learn.
Well, definitely. And I've always kind of felt like, yeah, I mean, Newfoundland is a very small pond, especially if no matter what field you're in. I mean, if you're in the arts especially, we do have a small arts community. It's one of the greatest things about St. John's and about Newfoundland in general, that we have a close-knit, where everybody truly knows and cares about each other arts community, whether that's literature, whether that's visual, whether that's art.
They definitely know about each other.
They do. They're all aware. One of the downsides of that sort of sentiment is that it's small, and a lot of the support for a lot of those scenes comes from within, if you know what I mean. You don't see... And I know as someone who went to shows a lot, you don't see as much external support for people going to shows like you did. I don't know if it's a generational thing. It could be maybe that I just personally don't know as many people going to shows.
We owe.
We owe.
Yeah.
We owe.
We owe.
But I mean...
The hip kids, maybe they like different stuff now.
Yeah, kids like dancing, EDM. They stay home now. That's apparently the thing. Like, even if you talk to cab drivers.
I'm hip. If
Oh,
that's the
we
news,
are
then
hip.
I've never
Watch
been
out,
more hip.
folks.
Woo!
Couple of cool cats over here.
Yeah, you guys are real Joe Camels. Let me
Yeah.
tell you. Yeah, it's okay, guys.
It's just fun.
We've been getting up at 6:30 and going for a walk through Bannerman Park in the morning.
AM.
Oh yeah,
Beautiful. No,
Yeah,
that's a
you
good-
get to see so many dogs.
believe
That is
that.
the time of day where people are letting their dogs out and they're just
explore.
oh yeah,
Absolutely.
it's a wonderful time.
Of course they are.
Yeah.
And I mean, really, that's what every self-care guide that I've ever looked into, what you should do, the things that you should do for yourself, the type of lifestyles you should adapt to make yourself the happiest you that you can be, they all say wake up early. Every one of them says go to bed a little earlier, go to bed around 10, get up real early.
Nobody likes staying up late and sleeping in late as much as a former version of myself. I
believe that.
was good at it. I believed in it. I had just as much time in the night as I did in the morning, just
Certainly.
on the other end.
Absolutely. Well, you
But
just
that's
push it.
just like me to say that you can chop the top off a blanket and sew it onto the bottom of a blanket and call it a longer blanket.
I
It's
agree.
the same length of blanket.
Yeah, you're. So you basically just you readjusted that time, and I guess you moved it earlier.
Yeah.
You're an early person, I guess, right?
Now I am.
What's a bedtime or a
I'm
curfew?
No, I still don't go to bed till like 11 o'clock.
That's fair. Okay.
Yuck. But I'm getting up at like 6 o'clock.
That's fair. And that's 11 to 6 is pretty decent. I mean, I'm probably a 6-hour sleep kind of guy. Like I can function on 6. I always don't feel like I'm at max capacity when I'm at 7 or 8.
Oh, I'm a solid 8
Yeah.
every night. Thank you.
No, I know I'm not the normal one. No, you're way more normal. That's
That's the first I've heard that.
That was the first time for everything on Unit
Yeah.
Radio. You're probably normal. I think that 7 to 8 is like the actual range that medical professionals would probably
I
recommend.
feel more mentally and emotionally nimble.
Stable.
Nimble.
That's right. You thought I was going for stable.
Spry?
Wow.
But who wants to be
Spirit,
emotionally and mentally stable?
No,
Who
no.
could be emotionally and mentally.
I've never been emotionally spry in my life. I
Emotional
don't think.
gymnastics.
Wow.
Try it out.
I do a lot of emotional gymnastics for sure. I don't know if I'm very good at it, but I do a lot of it. Definitely, it's good.
fun.
It's good exercise,
Yeah.
I guess, for your feelings.
Well, if you can't be Data from Star Trek, you might as well.
That's okay. I never did get into the Vulcan lifestyle.
He's a
Well,
robot.
Data's-
He's a robot.
I'm not. I mean,
Android. Sorry, there's a lot of people.
Oh no, my apologies. I'm not
People
referring to
very
Data. I'm not referring to
Fully
Data as a Data. Is certainly not a Klingon. Absolutely no.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no, my gosh, I'm not.
I can hear the people getting angry as we speak.
I feel you're getting angry.
Phones, I am. The phones are ringing. The phones are ringing. There's a lot of red lights.
I certainly didn't mean to imply
running by.
that Data, the pale robotic.
Android. Fully functioning.
Sure.
He is.
Yeah, I know.
I hope you know what that means.
Yeah. I'm watching him speaking like malfunction right now. Like I'm actually watching you like twitch on me.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I'm malfunctioning.
I know. We're gonna get in
And
a fight
I mean,
here.
I don't mean
you want
to
to arm
pollute
wrestle?
the airwaves with the notion of Android from a late 80s sci-fi show. But here we are. So what are we going to do?
You know what? It's not above the airtime here to be talking about fully functioning androids from shows set in the 23rd
Well,
century.
I think we need to talk about
would
this
say
kind of
24th?
stuff now so that we're ready
Further, we
for
have
when it comes. It was the
24th century.
I think it was the 26th. 24th?
Yeah, I'm gonna take
I don't know.
I'll take your word for it.
I don't know.
You should know.
It's star dates, man. They don't count it the same way.
They don't count it the same way. They've done things completely different. The only thing they're good for when they talk about star dates is actually knowing which season that they're in. And that, I think, only applies to certain Star Trek series.
No, star dates don't mean anything. It's baloney.
Who watched Star Trek first?
Oh, me. Yeah. I was parked in
watched
front
Voyager growing up,
of Patrick Stewart
That's fair.
at a young age.
That's fair. Patrick Stewart was, like...
And you know what? I'm a better man because of it. A lot of good lessons, even for today.
He was a father away from home for a lot of people. I mean, it's just a guy on TV, just...
Make your babies
cool.
watch Star Trek, I'm telling you.
Yeah, they'll be better people because of it.
I'd raise children on
Maybe
Star
not.
Trek.
Maybe not Shatner.
No, I'm just
We're
saying
talking
Picard.
Picard and the lads.
Yeah, Picard.
Janeway, I'm sorry, I love me some Janeway.
How could you not?
That's
Sure.
right.
How could you not?
Why not?
Powerful woman. And like you had 7 to 9 on that one.
Yeah, they called her Sir because they knew
That's right.
what's up.
Yeah, it was a respect thing, I think. It was supposed to be...
She was
the
respected.
captain.
She ain't no different.
Yeah, it was... I mean, it was...
They called the captain Sir.
It did the same thing for Battlestar Galactica, too. I mean, they had... I mean,
You know
it was
what?
just...
I
Everybody
didn't
had
watch
nicknames.
that show only because I knew it would consume me.
Ah, it's great. Fantastic.
I downloaded the entire series right before a bout of, the darkness in your early 20s, and I had to make a decision. Was I going to do this?
It's worth it.
Honestly, I downloaded all of it. I thought on it. I slept on it. Deleted all of it next day.
That's fair. I mean, you're not wrong for doing that. Like, I'll be honest, like, I put a lot of time. It's a really long show. Do you know the first episode's 4 hours?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's an
Yeah,
opener.
but, maybe now that we're more mentally nimble, we could
Yes,
give it a go.
you're right.
What's with
Safely.
nimble tonight?
I don't know. Word of the day: toilet paper.
Nimble.
Word of the day, toilet
That's
paper.
going to be
Pick it up.
that's your
Nimble.
word of the day right there for Unit Radio. We do have to take a quick break and jump into a public service announcement, which unfortunately I do have to read, so I'm going to apologize in advance for that. So I'm really sorry because I'm just really not good at that stuff. But to take us out to the break, I'll play a little song here that Josh and I used to play years ago.
Oh, that's nostalgia in a bottle right there.
This is the ultimate nostalgia.
And
You want to talk
it's
about
true.
local music?
It's true, too. Robots do need love.
They really do. And I want to thank you for coming in. Again, I don't know if you were going to stick around for the rest of the show. You're more than welcome.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, you see how you feel. We'll see what's going to happen. Maybe we'll have Josh and Bob. Regardless, stick around because we definitely are going to
Stay in one
have
place too long.
some local flavor coming up after this. I'm Brad Stevens here on Unit Radio. And again, as Josh suggested, I guess, or myself, I guess I kind of maybe suggested it. This is Dan Mangan with Robots.
Unit Radio is back.
Oh, Never Be the Same. That was Ron Sexsmith off of Time Being. And that song is called what is it called? Some Dusty Things. Dusty Old Things. I was looking for the Dusty Bookshelf, actually, which I couldn't find because it doesn't exist. Not a song by Ron Sexsmith, but hey.
In this universe.
And not in this universe, but definitely maybe on Earth 2. But thankfully, you're on Earth 1, and here on Earth 1, we have Unit Radio. And I'm Brad Stevens, and of course, thanks again to my guest here for sticking around.
This is Earth 1.
Josh and Bob.
It's like Earth 112.
Do you think
Trump
so?
is not the president of Earth 1.
Well, I mean, okay, he's not the president of Earth. Maybe on Earth 1, he's the president of Earth, but on our Earth, I guess he's the president of
Okay.
at least the United States of America, I guess.
Fair enough.
She's a grand old flag, but she's not that much of a flag that she's going to be Donald Trump for president in every universe. It's not possible.
Just saying, if we ask most people who the president is,
That's true.
they ain't gonna tell you who the president of Frito-Lay is.
It's kind of interesting like that. I know the States does have such a dominance on the world sphere that it's kind of the president. The words of the president do have kind of a different connotation. I mean, they do say it is the leader of the free world.
Oh.
You're right.
I mean, the word president is specific to that role.
100%.
We have prime ministers.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, there are
As well.
there's other countries, but definitely much smaller with
Yeah.
less influence countries that don't have presidents. I think maybe that might be the only. As of, say, the times, like, for most of the 20th century, it probably was the only, say, top 5 world power that did have a president.
It's gonna be weird to have a king.
It's going to be real weird. That's
Had
going
a
to...
queen for a
It's
while.
I think that
She's-
could be part of the reason why.
Is she longest reign now?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's...
Or maybe.
I think she actually might
I'm
have...
fairly certain she is.
Yeah.
Long may she reign.
Long may she reign.
And long may she reign.
Unthreatening Aunt Elizabeth, Queenie.
She, yeah, she's the second, right?
She doesn't
Yeah.
look that threatening to behold.
Yeah, she is Queen Elizabeth II.
Okay, yeah, since February 6th, 1952. So she's coming up on 65, is that right? 65 years?
On the throne.
Wow.
On the throne. So we're going to have a king after that.
I mean, yeah, I guess that's the next step, really,
And
at this point.
I just feel like that's going to... People don't like having kings.
Well, I guess, you know what, in our lifetime, though, technically, I guess, really, in the lifetime of me, my parents, your parents, I'm sure, maybe our grandparents to an extent, they probably lived as children, maybe, with a king, but, I mean...
Our grandparents did. Our
grandparents
would have.
did.
Yeah.
They went to war for a king.
For sure. I mean, at that point, we were still a British colony as well, so we definitely would have had a bigger tie to the king or queen at that point. Was it King George? Or King...
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess who's the next successor? Is it actually going to be Charles, or has Charles been... Chuck.
Yeah.
Old
He
Chaz.
likes to be called Chuck.
Princio Chaz.
King Chucky.
That guy.
Yeah.
Them boy, yeah.
It'll be him.
Spicy
It'll be
meme
him.
lord.
I mean, I think they should pass over him altogether and give it to the other dude.
Well,
Harry.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
no.
No?
William.
Yeah,
William is...
because he's younger. He'd be like the Obama.
Yeah,
of the
he's
British throne.
charismatic.
Is he
And
charismatic?
Well, I don't know.
Wonder Bread
He's
is
white bread
charismatic.
charismatic.
He's okay.
Wonder Bread is charismatic.
Seems like a nice guy.
Kate's charismatic. Kate seems
She's
cool.
nice.
She's really
Yeah,
sweet.
she's nice.
Yeah, she seems really like...
I
She's
want to be on the other side of that scandal after she runs away with our prime minister.
Is that gonna... Yeah.
Oh, it's only a matter of time.
I think that's
people.
almost like every world leader, though. Really.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
Did you see the photos? Was it Ivanka Trump taking a look at
Oh, yeah.
gazing across the table at Donald
It is
Trump?
about
Longing.
time Canada's
Howie.
come out on top with hotness.
You know what? It's great. Exactly. We're up here. We're stuck away, way up north. The strong Nordic genes.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true.
Well, we've been the
well,
laughing stock for a while.
Have we?
Exactly.
I don't know about that.
Listen, we don't have to like. It's not like we got to take it too personally. It's not like he's from Newfoundland. You know, where's he from? He's Quebec, right? Are they French?
Yeah.
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 Right. Are they from Quebec or Montreal?
Trudeau is definitely not.
Quebec City.
Ce n'était pas un nom anglais.
Yeah.
No. So you are correct in saying that, Bob. That is for true. But hey, Trudeau, whatever. I can't. I like the guy. I got no objection to him. I can't hate on him. I'm not going to get too political here.
I don't think we should.
Yeah, I'm supposed to get into... we got about... Let's see what... We got about 10 minutes left here. So we're going to get into a much shorter, condensed version of local flavor. I was actually just going to cut this off because I want to have you guys here. This is way better than me playing music. And,
What kind of local flavor you got?
well, I took a look...
Dressing gravy.
Definitely dressing and gravy.
Okay.
Pineapple
Above...
Crush.
Oh, dressing and gravy above any sort of other condiment,
Salt
really.
beef.
Now, here's one. Do you put vinegar on your... on a gravy thing?
I
If you
don't.
put gravy
I
on something?
like doing
don't.
a little half.
Yeah, I do like a little gravy
Mix
on
it
it.
up. I don't want it on the whole thing.
No,
But
definitely
like
not.
over in the corner, sure. Throw a little bit down.
Almost like a little wasabi or something. A little yogurt sauce on your Indian. Just want a little over in the corner. Just
Oh man, you can load that yogurt sauce.
Those two things, they don't belong together.
No?
That's lamb and tuna fish.
I find it just doesn't. If it doesn't curd, then it's fine. I mean, lamb and tuna fish.
Yeah.
You ever made
Two
like?
things that don't go together, I guess.
Yeah.
I've never had put like two chops as the bread on a sandwich, and you put the tuna in between.
How's that sound to you?
That sounds amazing.
I could do it. Yeah.
I'm gonna do it.
You are.
What are you
just
guys doing
fine with
after?
food if you don't know
Is there
what
anywhere
they
that serves
are, what it
lamb?
is.
Can we get
Lamb
lamb
tenders?
chops? I don't know. I feel like we could get lamb chops maybe at this hour. Is there any like local?
Late night lamb chops.
Where
Late night
can I
lamb.
get some zebra veal? That's what I want.
Zebra veal?
Yeah.
Ooh, exotic.
Is it rich?
I don't know. I've never had it. That's what I want. I imagine it's very tasty.
I don't know. I feel like zebras can't be
Wee baby
available
zebras.
here. Can we get them?
There's like on the island or in
Yeah,
Canada?
I feel like you
'Cause
can
there's
barely
definitely zoos with zebras.
Oh no, I don't
It's
mean
not-
we can't hunt
It's
zebras.
not the question of can we get them. It's how
Should we?
much.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Cost.
Did you see? Well, recently you said the thing is changing in the States now. They've allowed the importing of elephants.
Exactly why I bring it up. Now, Donald Trump just came out and said he was not going to do that.
Okay, all right. So he's repealed. It was something to do with his son, I think,
I
wasn't
don't
it?
know. It was one of his flashy dance cards. Fake news, people. Fake news.
All fake news. And speaking of people who've have definitely lost it entirely, from car songs off the Times. This was the Times, I guess, second record. Car songs is beautiful. I definitely recommend checking it out there at thetimes.bandcamp.com. Yeah, I guess while we're on the topic, this is Lobotomy. Was the Times off Car Songs with Lobotomy. I love that tune, actually. That's one of my favorites. If anybody hasn't seen the video, and I presume maybe you haven't, it is amazing. By Jeremy Rice is a bit of a... I don't know, he's a bit of a jack of all trades, and he kind of does it all. He animated his own head floating around in space, doing his thing, floating on by through the universe, and it ruled. Great music video, great tune, and that's a local flavor for you. And I guess to close out the show here, we are getting into the last couple of minutes here. Again, I want to thank Josh and Bob, who just ducked out there to hit the road. It's getting a little late. I want to say very, very special thank you from the bottom of my heart to both of them for coming on out this evening. I've been aching to get Josh and Bob on the radio, and it's been about time. We'll hopefully get them back, as well as a few other guests, and I'll have a little word about my surprise guest coming up in the coming week, so make sure you stick around. It's someone a little big, I'm not going to lie. I'll put it this way. It's someone who's been on this radio show. I've played their music on the radio show, and not in the local flavor segment. This is a legitimate outside of Newfoundland artist. I have seen this artist perform a few times. I am very excited. I should go back. I got to step back there. I don't want to take away the legitimacy of any Newfoundland artist by implying that. What I want to say is that this person is someone that is one of the reasons I got into playing music. It's one of my earliest influences. One of my, just one of those people that I got into from very early on in music. Oh, I want to tell you so bad. I can't. All right, I'm going to keep it for another week, and I'll close it out here again with some friends of mine for the local flavor segment. This is off their, I believe, a 2010 release. It was called Chapter 4, and you can actually find this one as well on obsessivecompulsion.bandcamp.com. And this, I guess, as I just said, was Obsessive Compulsion with, I guess, probably, I don't know if this is fair to say, and maybe one of the guys will hit me for saying this, but this is what I'd consider to be maybe the single off the record. This is The Fall, and for the last 2 hours, folks, closing us out here, this has been Unit Radio. And again, I'm Brad Stevens. Make sure you come on back next week there from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., and we will have another episode. Take care.